Welcome to the Project of the Week, hosted by the Vetter ecosystem. Here at Vetter, we've combined artificial intelligence, AI, with crowdsourced intelligence, CI, to support you in finding your next 2x to 100x. Our CrowdX calendar has hundreds of crypto pre-sales that have been sourced by our very own community. Let's look at TrueDefi. Scouts do the legwork of sifting and sorting. Okay, so they do the sifting and sorting. They're going to provide some basic information about the project. So for example, the date of the pre-sale, when is it launching? They're going to provide Telegram, Twitter, website, soft cap, hard cap. They're going to provide any red flags and positives that they like. Okay. They're also going to provide any notes and comments that they may run across as they have found the project. Like I said, really basic information. But then a veteran is going to come along and they're going to do a deep dive on the project. They're going to look into the team. They want to look into the experience level, the background. They want to look into the AMAs. They want to look into marketing, tokenomics, the contract, the health of the socials and the vibe of the Telegram group. They're going to do a deep dive on the project and make sure that they find any red flags. They're going to address those, and any things that they really like, they're going to address those as well. And they even provide a summary there at the bottom. Now, this process of scouts and vetters working together, it allows you to save yourself some time and energy, since the majority of the research has already been done for you. Now, we host calls 2 days a week, supporting users and maximizing the platform and helping them find their next 2x to 100x crypto gem. This week, the project of the week is TrueDefi, and it was scouted by King Astronaut, which was actually his very first project. So congratulations, you picked a good one. And then it was vetted by Brink36 and vetted by Metalride. And both of these gentlemen are absolute rock stars in our community. TrueDefi provides a revolutionary way for cryptocurrency projects to collect taxes without the use of a distributor contract that stores and then later sells native project tokens in bulk. Okay. Now, Matt is a developer with prior experience on a handful of other projects, and TrueDefi is the first project he has done for himself. He is the dev, owner, and CEO of this project. Matt is located in Kentucky. His experience is in coding, swaps, staking contracts, and all aspects of blockchain, project deployment, and management. It's earned him a great reputation. And Matt, hey, thank you so much for being on the show this afternoon.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm, glad to be here. Excited to have y'all dig in and see what we got going on here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, congratulations again for being chosen as Project of the Week. Like I said, I saw this project earlier in this week, and I got excited about it. There was a handful of things that really stood out to me about what you guys have been doing and what you've created. And I'm excited about what we're going to talk about. So again, welcome and thank you for being here. So I just want to jump into it. Can you explain the actual working utility of what you guys provide? Like, what is it and why is it so important?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So since the dawn of DeFi, of course, everybody understands how the contracts work for the most part. You have a tax. The tax is collected in tokens at a certain threshold, depending on what the contract is set at. Those tokens get swapped and liquefied for the native chain token, whether you're
right.
BSC or Crow or whatever. So when that happens, of course, you get a sell on the chart for those collected tokens. Now, another thing that also causes is whenever you're making a buy, you're buying on top of that tax buy as well. That's going to get sold onto you automatically whenever that threshold is hit.
Right.
So you're causing yourself to have to buy at a higher point, price point, and then you're guaranteed to get sold on from the contract to send out those taxes.
Right.
Now, of course, some of those taxes are rewards, if they're a rewarding contract or whatever. But the point is it's a guaranteed sale that's going to happen at some point.
Okay.
So with using TrueDefi, we have, made a way to basically take the tax in native chain instead of collecting those tokens. That way, that sale never has to happen.
That's awesome.
We've already took that tax in BNB or whatever the native chain is.
Yeah, no, that's great. So the moment that you cracked the code, okay, so think back to the moment where you found a solution, you figured out this, you obviously you saw the problem all these projects are having, a lot of them had the same thing, but you saw an opportunity to find a solution for that. So think back to the moment where you cracked the code and you figured out a way and it actually worked. Like, how were you feeling in that moment?
I mean, this is something that I've wanted since I got into DeFi back in 2021.
Yeah.
Where I've grew into DeFi, watching all this stuff happen and watching the havoc it causes projects is unreal, because just the sale for one thing, but then watching all the other sales happen because of that swap liquefy, because everybody's worried they're going to miss out on being able to take the profit because of the sale.
Right. It's like a domino effect, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure. And then you look at launches. If you have a decent launch with a lot of buy pressure, what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot of tokens stored up during that buy pressure on launch.
Right.
All those tokens have to be sold. So it's a domino every sale that comes in, because that's how swap liquefies work. They trigger on a sale. So if you've got a swap threshold of say 50,000 tokens, and during launch you gained a bunch of tokens in the contract from all the buy pressure, it might take 5 or 6 sales to empty that contract. So each sale is going to get a swap liquefy thrown on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's just, it shows the charts on all projects that you see with the swap liquefy. You've got that great green candle going up. And then as soon as the first sale happens, you have that basically drop almost all the way back down because of the swap liquefies.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that one little domino gets clicked over, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. So how, when you crack that code, when you found the real solution, you tested it out, it starts working, what were some of the thoughts going through your mind when you, I don't want to say made it, but you had that realization, hey, it works. You had an idea, a concept, and then you put it in action, it actually worked. What were some of the thoughts going through your mind in that moment?
Well, to me, the biggest thing is how much it's going to help the investors.
Yeah.
It's this is, this is something I come up with, and it's, to me, it's revolutionary. It's something that completely changes DeFi in a whole, that allows it to be better because of this.
Yeah.
But it benefits the investors that much more. And that's what I've been about since I've been in DeFi and since I've worked with projects, is how to benefit the investors, because that's what makes the projects good, is the investors that understand that you're for them and not for yourself or for whatever else.
Right. I mean, this space is full of copycats. Every time you turn around, there's just a mirror of this and a copy of that. And so I really have appreciation for teams and individuals who think outside the box and actually go to actually solve real problems and challenges. So shout out to you, hats off to you guys for doing that. I think that's phenomenal. And, it sounds like a lot of projects could really use what you've created. It's just like, it is a perfect solution for one of the biggest challenges. And so what are your current marketing plans, to reach these teams and other projects to get it out there to the masses that can really influence and help?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is of course just getting the name out there. The technology sells itself. I mean, any legitimate project that is launching or has launched that has the ability to be able to harness this for their investors, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you do it for your investors?
Right.
So that's kind of the aspect I'm going at, is a matter of getting the project, getting the pitch deck and stuff to the project so they can see what we're doing. And like I said, some projects are not going to worry about it because they don't care whether it sells on the investors or not. They're worried about what they're doing. But the legitimate projects are going to see this, they're going to want it, and it's going to be something they're going to jump on to get implemented for their project.
Yeah, you make a good point. When you said there's kind of two different groups of people. There's the one group who says, we don't really care. We care about ourselves. We don't care what happens to investors. But then you have the group who's like yourself and like Vetter, where real utility, real value in the marketplace, wants to help people win. And it sounds like that's exactly who you're looking to connect with and work with and support, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's one thing, and I'll touch on it real quick while we're talking about it. I could have just took this, this idea, well, not idea because it's functional. I mean, it's a working utility, but right. I could have took for myself and just took a fee from everybody that uses it for myself and could care less about any investors. But why
Right.
do that? This is about the space and about the investors and about making the space better. So
Yeah.
that's where the token even come up. The token was an afterthought after coming up with the utility, because all projects that use it, there's a small fee that comes back to the token as a direct buy and burn for all the volume that's ran from the other projects using it.
Okay. Nice. Nice. So it seems like, you're, like I said, you're definitely solving serious challenges that, a lot of projects experience. And so one of the questions I have is, what do you see as, a potential, maybe a future issue that could come up? Do you see it as a possibility, projects that use your swap and such, and, is there a possibility that it could hinder their ability to be listed on a centralized exchange? Is there anything that could come back that could hurt a project that you know of or can think of right now?
No, there's nothing that can affect the project in any way, because this is just an add-on. It does not directly link or connect to their contract. It basically mirrors it.
Okay.
So we're mirroring their tax functions and communicate, or basically sending out to their tax wallets and distributors, however their token's set up, with our swap function. It's not something that they're integrating in their token or that will affect their token. It's a way that they can use the technology from an outstepped source without affecting what they're trying to do internally.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, because we've heard of some projects, with certain taxes and things like that, it limits their ability to get on exchanges and things like that. So like you said, it sounds like this is independent of that and wouldn't cause issues. And yeah, so it sounds like there's a lot of great things going for you. Like I said, I just scratching the scratch earlier this week. I was excited, but after hearing you talk now, and I'm really excited to dive deeper into the project. So Matt, hey, thank you for taking some time out to be on. We're going to move and transition to the next spot where our scouts and vetters are going to come on, and we're going to tear apart the project. We're going to talk about things that we like, things that we maybe are unsure of, potential red flags, things that we absolutely love about it. But again, thank you so much for taking some time out to be here, answering these questions. And again, congratulations on being the project of the week, Matt. We appreciate you.
Hey, I thank you so much. And like I said, I look forward to the breakdowns. And like I said, we're open book. So any questions or concerns, by all means, send them to us. We will definitely get them answered.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
All right. So next we're going to be talking about, like I said, just a round table discussion with, the crew. We got PSC 100X, we got Hellstrom, and we got Metalleride. We're all going to be breaking it down, breaking this project down. Let me just go ahead and unmute the crew here so they can hop on and join in the conversation. So Phyllis, I want to start with you first.
Sure.
And just get your insights into, the background of the team. And I really like Matt's vibe. He's, a seasoned developer. He has a handful of projects under his belt, but the fact that he has that vibe of, wanting to contribute to the community, making the space better, and providing real value to the crypto space.
Absolutely. And, Matt, thanks for being here. And I'm glad that you're on the same mindset, or in the same mindset that we are in Vetter, because that's exactly one thing that stuck out to me when you said that you weren't even thinking about the token. And when we first started crowdsourcing as a community, I'm not sure that a token was, in the in sight as well, but we knew that when we were doing all the crowdsourcing within a community of like about 600 or so, and we were having such incredible results that why not tokenize that, right? And that's exactly what you did. And the thing that stuck out to me is, the reasons why and behind why you did it. And that is to kind of really clean up the space. And that's exactly what Vetter is about as well. What I looked through a lot of the profiles, and it looks like, well, as you already discovered, that you actually were a developer. I see in other projects, Everwealth, Rebel Traders, Disco Burn, a couple other ones as well, as a developer. And now it looks like, this is your baby. And what's exciting is, for me, is looking at the background is that we already know that the utility works because it actually has been functioning.
Yeah.
So that's, that really was exciting for me, because a lot of times, as we all know, a lot of projects come out there, and they have a lot of, they're excited and they have a lot of ideas, but trying to get it to fruition takes a lot more elbow grease than talk.
Right.
So that's was exciting for me to hear. I like the fact that Matt is already a name out there in the space, and that's important. As a scout or a vetter, I try to look for projects that I can, I know about who the developers are. That's kind of like a thing for me, to be able to know who they are, so I can actually know that, I've done my research, on their background. So yeah, I'm excited about the program. I think it's great right now.
Yeah, I like to echo what you said about, the utility. It's not just this pie in the sky thing. And, it's like, hey, look, this is what we're doing. It's already being utilized. It's already ready to go. And the fact that, Matt, you have a track record of, putting out projects, and you're building a name for yourself, but also you're building a legacy with, like you said, you could sit here and just make money and do your thing, but like, you have a vision that's bigger than that. So I really appreciate that. Phyllis, one of the things that, I think we had talked about on Tuesday was, the built-in, revenue generation with the project. Is there anything you want to speak on about that?
Yeah, I do, because I think that what sets the great projects, like Vetter, apart, from a lot of other projects out there, is that, when we develop a project, that's great. However, if we can't sustain it and then continue to generate revenue, the project over a period of time basically fizzles away. And I like the fact that they're actually not just taking this, to their token, but it appears to me, as I read through what they're doing, that they're going to be, apparently there's a patent that is in the works, and they're going to be actually, bringing this utility out to other projects and other developers. And therefore that's going to create, obviously revenue as well. And so they're going to continue to generate revenue based on how many projects they onboard, the way I see it with this technology. So that is encouraging to me, because a lot of times, like I said, projects die out because they don't think that far in advance, and there needs to be, if you can't generate profit, you can't just live off the taxes, of a project itself. And you have to have something, other than multiple ways, actually, to be able to generate additional revenue, to, not just, for the project itself, but for your, for the users of your project, as well as the investors of your project. So that is, I see that the swapper fee, I looked at, about the buy and burns that's going to begin on, day one, from the funds that they accumulated from the initial adapters or adopters of TrueDefi, and the swapper fee that's collects for the integration and for support, and it's going to be 100% directed back, to the buy, to to the burn. So I think, that's also pretty extraordinary as well. So that's how I feel. I think that all projects, need to have something. The other thing that stuck out to me is, and I like the part, and one of the things that, I would do is really educate the community, because what happens is a lot of people don't realize, that these taxes are collected, and then you have to sell it off, and then they see that big, red candle, and everybody starts to freak out, and everybody starts to sell, and it causes a whole FOMO, environment. And then on the flip side, as you talked about, when you're actually on the buy, when the big green candle comes up too, and I think the educating people on that is very crucial, because a lot of people don't understand, how that actually works. And I think you touched on that in the very beginning. So that's something that I would highly recommend is getting that out, to the public and to, our community. I want you guys to realize that too. So when you're looking at these projects and you're in the middle of, looking at selling, you really take in consideration and understand, what's actually what's going on with the charts, know?
Right. That the revenue aspect of it, I absolutely love. Projects and teams that they're planned to make it big simply by going like viral. that's not a very good strategy.
No, it's not. It's like I don't know. It's like a wish and a prayer.
Exactly. Like let me cross my fingers and hope for it. But no, I appreciate the fact that there's a very big difference between a project and a company. Okay, there's a very big difference between a project and a company, and this is a company. I believe Justin was talking about they are incorporated.
Yes, they are.
Okay, and so the fact that they're an actual company with like a real use case, but also the built-in revenue generation. I mean, this is something that can last, not just a overnight success and hey, great, and then it tanks. Like, no, there's like there's real substance here. But the cool thing is, it actually can support other projects in maybe lasting longer, because exactly. we're removing the domino. We're removing the thing that could topple the chart, the house of cards. I mean, some projects are still going to be what they are. Some teams are not really visionaries beyond tomorrow, but it does seem like this can really support projects in creating some sustainability and allowing them to make it through maybe some of the tough times, or to limit some of the massive out of people's minds selling that happens whenever those dominoes start falling.
And basically just cleaning up the space. And that's exactly what's exciting, what I see here. And that's what, Vetter's all about, is about, cleaning up the space. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. What I see right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
What I like about Matt is that he's developing a company and he's a developer. So instead of hiring someone with a business management degree to be the CEO and just read off a script, he is taking on that hat. So he's wearing multiple hats. So he's going to be able to communicate a lot better with development side of it and the business side, instead of hiring someone just to read a script. I really like that.
That's a really good point, Jesse. That's a great point. Having that experience on all fronts, to be able to truly understand and know what's going on. I mean, that's a huge asset.
Yeah, for sure. I like seeing CEOs who know where the rubber meets the road.
Right. So Justin, one of the things that you're always looking for is hype and marketing. What are some of the things that you've been finding with the project?
So yeah, you're right. I especially in this time right now, I'm really kind of looking a lot at hype and the marketing plans and how things are going there with the projects. try and get it out there. One of the first things that caught my eye about this project was the fact that their Telegram group is not botted. There's no bots. There's genuine conversation there. The any question that you ever have is always answered, every single one. And I know myself and Brink 36 and a few of the other members here have asked a ton of questions in their group, and they've answered them all, and the communication lines have been great. And like Matt said, that they're an open book. I've had many conversations with Matt in private messaging as well as in the public group, and there's never been a time where anything wasn't answered. So I really like that. I really appreciate that, and the transparency that they have.
That's a huge thing.
That is a huge thing for me and for the project. So I like that. The number one thing that I look at in marketing is in these types of projects is the utility of the project. And of course, I mean, we've talked about that for the last little bit here. There's no question that this is a fantastic utility. There's nothing about it I don't like. I like it, and I think that really speaks for itself. That is the number one marketing ploy that these guys are going to have. Is just it's going to speak for itself. And one of the things that really excites me about this is the fact that, like Vetter, we're getting into projects at the ground floor, and right when they start, we're able to grow with them. Well, we're doing that in two ways with this project. Is we're getting into this project right when it's launched and right at the start, so we're able to grow with it. But we're also getting into the ground floor of this utility getting out there to the masses, which is going to take off, and projects are going to utilize this technology, and I'm excited to be part of that journey with that. And I think that's going to be a big part of their marketing strategy, and rightly so. It's going to speak for itself. There is going to be some Twitter marketing as well, and they also do have a marketing team that they're working with. Unfortunately, Nelson, who in their Telegram group is kind of heading up their marketing questions and answering there, is away today, but they are again very open to answering questions about the marketing, and it's there.
One of my mentors, he always said, don't tell people what you can do, show them. There's a very big difference between telling people and showing people. And so the fact that, it's currently running, it's currently working, projects are using it, this is very much a show me situation. And the fact that it solves that real need, I mean, it's exciting for a lot of different reasons. But the fact that this can truly help out other projects is super cool.
And I know that projects that are using this technology currently are excited about it as well. I mean, the whole reason why this this call is happening today is because of one of the other projects we've discussed in the past, DeFi Kings, who is using the technology, who's using their product right now, and it's been successful at it. And because of that, it was scouted from that group, and so now that brought in potentially, over 14,000 people in our group that have eyes on it now. And so that's just an example of some of the marketing that from one group that's using it. So
that organic marketing, like word of mouth, every time they try to onboard a new project is going to be huge for them, I think. Because crypto is a lot of word of mouth. In a sense, right? You get into a project and you hear about another project from a friend who's in the project and so on and so forth. And it's free marketing. It's organic. I think it's going to be big for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the strongest things in the crypto space is the relationships and the networking. And, when projects find out about this from someone that they already know, like, and trust, I mean, that's just a gimme at this point. It just makes sense. It's like when someone told me about Vetter, because of who they were and their reputation, they didn't have to say anymore. Like, okay, great. If you're into this, I'm into this. And so, I see the same thing happening with forming relationships and networks in the space. And when people start realizing what TrueDefi can really do for their project, I mean, it's gonna spread. I believe it could spread really quickly.
Another component to the marketing, which I know Matt hasn't even maybe thought of yet, but is the fact that I vetted this project. I support this project. You mentioned at the top of this show about the strategies that I use with the RIP FT. Well, right now in the current space, I primarily mostly been ripping projects, just taking out my initial and all the profits. And this has such a strong utility. I like utility projects for long-term holds, that this will definitely be a RIP FT project for me. I'm leaving in a ton of free tokens to let ride long-term because I believe it's a long-term project for sure. And I talk to hundreds of projects every month and vetting projects every month, and I know that I'm going to bring this up to those other projects, and there's going to potentially be up to another 100 projects in the month of July that are going to hear about this project. If they use it, they use it. If they don't, they don't. But at the end of the day, they're going to hear it. So that's just another avenue of marketing that this project is going to have, just because of the strong utility, Matt's background, and all of that. So
yeah, no, that's fantastic. As you had mentioned something along the lines of sustainability, and Jesse, could you share and speak into the tokenomics and the sustainability of the project?
So from what I can tell, they're basically setting themselves up to be a long-term project with their tokenomics. They're starting out with 1 million tokens, which is a reasonable number, not quadrillions or whatever. The buy tax is 12%, the sell tax is 16%. For the buy, it's 4% LP, 2% to dev team, 4% to the marketing, 2% to rewards. Sell tax is 6% LP, 2% to dev, 4% to the marketing, 4% to the rewards. So they're going to inject a lot of the taxes into the LP, which is always good for the product, right? For the long-term longevity of the product. The rewards are going to be in BUSD, which is nice for the investor because you get that instant gratification of getting a reward.
Right.
It is an elastic token, so the supply is going to change. So you're basically automatically staking. From the last AMA that I listened to, Matt was saying when you hold for the full 600 days, inflationary token goes down to 0% inflation and turns into a deflationary token. It's about 8.5% return, which is pretty good, especially if they do well and you get like a 10x or whatever on the price as it becomes deflationary. And then the deflationary part of it is going to increase because the fees from the swap are going to be for buyback and burn. So even though they're inflationary to start, they have a deflationary aspect already built into it. So they're going to be able to they're going to be able to pivot after it becomes a deflationary token and take the total supply to wherever they want. And I really like that and they can change the taxes. So I think what he was getting at with changing the taxes is the profitability. If the products are doing really well, they can actually lower the taxes depending on if they need to inject LP or not. So they're setting themselves up to be able to have a lot of different options, which I like. And otherwise it looks pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. So from your perspective, they've definitely built it to be sustainable, short term and long term.
Yeah, for sure. Right. There's different aspects to it. The LP, and like I like that they're giving rewards because everybody likes rewards, right? So you get that instant gratification where otherwise you'd be saying, okay, I got to hold this for the 600 days to get the big return or whatever. So it's a both, right? It's a long term and you're getting a short term gratification at the same time, which is nice, right? As long as obviously the project does well. After the 600 days, it's like 20 months. They were saying when it turns deflationary, the price could increase exponentially, right, with deflation over the years.
Yeah, no, I like that. Now, one of the things that I'm curious about, when we launched, right after we launched, Vetter back in October, we were already starting to plan and develop the next phase, the next steps. And, so were you guys able to dig in to see if if they do have plans, what's next? The crypto space can change so quickly. Are they currently in development for what they see is the next thing that could come up behind this model? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I'm curious about that as well. So I really don't have an answer for that, but maybe one of the other guys do.
Mainly what I heard from Matt and the AMAs that I listened to was that they're going to be setting up the swap on their website where anyone who joins with them, you're going to be able to buy and sell those tokens on their website, or alternately, you're going to be able to go to their website or their D app, buy it there, or alternately use their, just send the tokens to the address, the swap address, which a lot of people really like. It's a safety feature. You don't actually have to link your wallet up to a website in order to do the transaction. So what you would do is you get the swap address, you would send your BNB or whatever native token they happen to be using, because they are talking about other blockchains, and you get, in return, you get the tokens. And then vice versa, if you want to sell, you send your tokens to the address and you get back the native tokens. So as far as brand new projects launching, I don't remember seeing anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. So I did want to take one moment. We do have Brink 36 with us. He was one of the bettors on this project, and he actually had looked at some previous projects that Matt had done. And Brink, if you're available, brother, I would like you to share, just a couple sentences on your takeaways from this project and where you see the potential here.
Yeah, so pretty much you guys already covered what I would have brought up, but since you mentioned his past projects, the last one but like the second I looked at the website and saw his picture, I was like, oh, I remember him from a project that I betted a few months ago that did really well. That project was Everwell. It had a very successful launch, and they also had a similar pre-launch process as what it appears that they have right now. That they only had a 300-person whitelist. That they had a small max buy of 2 BNB, and that filled up in like less than a minute, I think. So obviously that built up a bunch of buy pressure for the launch. So
that's awesome.
From my conversation, it sounds like that they're planning to do an AMA tour going into the pre-sale and the launch. And that's pretty much what they did. And I'm assuming that they're going to hit the same call channels and AMA groups that they had back then. So
yeah, kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Pretty much.
Nice. Yeah, thank you.
One other thing I forgot to mention, this is important to me, is for the tokenomics, is that the seed sale, pre-sale, and launch are the same price. So there's not going to be a pre-sale dump at the start, and there is no vesting on those tokens.
Oh, not yeah. That is
Yeah, you see that all the time, right? With the big pump and dump at the start, the pre-sale or the seed sale guys just dump and get out, right? So they've avoided that altogether by not giving the incentive with a cheaper price.
No, that's great. I mean, I saw a project the other day. There was like a 50% difference, and so just right away, that people are going to dump because they're making profit right out the gate. So it comes down to who has the fastest fingers.
Right.
But no, that's great. So guys, we're right at the top of the hour. So I just wanted to thank, we have a special guest with us, Brink 36. Thank you, Brink, for sharing your thoughts and insights there in the last minute. But shout out to PSC 100X, Hellstrom, and Metaloride. We were talking about TrueDefi. Beginning of the call, we had Matt on. He's the owner, the dev, CEO, and a fantastic conversation. I am really excited about this project. Like we said, we got a team that has experience. We got a project that actually is being used in the space. Revenue is going to be generated. There's just a lot of wins going on with this project. Personally, I like it a lot. I'm really excited to always connect with teams who are actually doing something, actually creating something in the space. Matt, thank you so much for taking some time out to be here with us and to share these thoughts and insights, and to share your project with us. Like I said, we're excited about seeing where the project goes, and following along, leading up into the pre-sale, leading into the launch, and like Metaloride said, this is a project that looks like it's going to have a long life with it, and it's not every day that something like this kind of runs across your desk and you have the opportunity to watch it and be a part of it. So again, thank you to Top Scouts and Vetters for contributing and adding to the discussion today. And again, thank you, Matt, for being here and sharing with us. And we definitely look forward to connecting and networking and working together in the future on this process.